Vince McMahon is no longer a billionaire. Now, check this out. He lost $350 million when the market had closed this past Friday, as shares of WWE stock had took a beating from its investors. The stock was down more than 40% since the market opened. In fact, the stock, which had closed just below $20 on Thursday, opened down, just get this, below $11. This move had immediately knocked the WWE boss out of the billionaire ranks, putting his net worth now, as of 2014, at an estimated $750 million. Now, the stock fell after news WWE had signed a new television deal with NBC Universal for what's being described by many insiders as less than some investors had hoped. So just again, it had pretty much fell below $20 on Thursday, opened Friday at $11, and then it continued to go spiral when news of WWE's new television deal with NBC Universal, when the details of it had came about. Check this out. Benchmark analyst Mike Hickey had estimated WWE got a 50% raise over its last TV agreement, but he expected the new deal to pay WWE double or triple its previous one. Direct quote, the company's valuation could take a heavy beating this morning as the new domestic TV deal with NBC Universal likely disappointed investors, he wrote in a report, downgrading the price target for the company's stock from $29.12 to $19.96. Now, WWE executives kept an even more somber tone, if you will, as they offered little additional guidance, saying, direct quote, we never commented publicly on the exception, said George Barrows, Chief Strategy and Financial Officer. We said we were undervalued by the math that we had done. The new TV deal has, without a doubt, hit the WWE at a very difficult time right now, as of course they got the whole WWE Network going on and everything. Company shares shot up 89% in the first 3 months of 2014, and McMahon's net worth peaked in mid-March at about $1.6 billion. But shares dropped 29% the week after WWE announced this online streaming network. Remember, folks, when we had told you the news that at this point they had only grabbed about over 660K subscribers for the WWE Network, and at this point, at that respected quarter, they were under the impression that they were going to have their 1 million subscribers to try to break even of launching the new WWE Network. WWE announced its online network subscribers there for that little net worth, basically taking in a $325 million chunk out of McMahon's fortune. He remained a billionaire until early Friday morning. Now, some investors saw the trouble coming. Well, no shit. I mean, I don't know math like that. I know how to add, subtract, divide, and multiply. Calculus on, I could care less about that. I suck big time with that. But you don't need to be an expert to be able to see that this was just a wrong move with the WWE Network on so many levels, because it was going to have a huge domino effect. Now, there is concern that remains, as well as additional questions. After reading into the company's financial projections provided by the news release about the TV deal, the online streaming network is estimated to break even when it has 1.5 million subscribers. So take that for what it's worth right now. But I mean, Tammy, you hear these stats. You also take in part that one of the head niggas in charge, if you will, of the WWE Network, like as far as the content, the marketing of it and everything, somebody high up had recently got fired by the WWE, as now a new person has been brought in, and that's why we've been seeing new content be added. That's why we're seeing more ECW episodes. That's why now all the Clash of Champion pay-per-views is now available. A lot more content is available, but I would think that by this news, First off, again, we're not financial experts. We don't work in Wall Street, but we sure as hell have seen Wall Street 1 and 2, and those were some pretty damn good movies. We all knew this was a bad move. You hear risk, but this is a huge one.
Well, sometimes there's risk and then there's reward. Right now, I think a little bit is part of this that's coming is either somewhat of a bad move or just of being afraid. Just being afraid of what's happening in the unknown. You know, you as well as I were in when they were first launching the WWE Network. And they said that Vince McMahon at that time, when he went and ventured on into pay-per-view, oh, well, that was a bad idea. You know, he was a pioneer with that. This is really, he's pioneering right now because, folks, you and I both know that in the next 10 years, cable, maybe not obsolete. No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that the younger generation is checking a lot of their stuff out on Netflix and the computers and so on and so forth. So right now it's still young and very wet behind the ears, and they're trying to push it as much as possible, you know, and grant you, they're also trying to keep their commitments to their TV sponsors as well. So yeah, it's a very thin line right now. And, you know, I can only imagine that Vince McMahon is going, oh my God, you know, but it's really, really terrible. But believe me, he's nowhere near broke, you know. It's a major hit, and I'm sure that he will work it out and, you know, talk with financial analysts, you know. And I was joking with Lee and saying I'm pretty sure that ticket prices and merchandise sales, the money for your merchandise will probably go up.
Everything's going to go up. Everything's going to go up as a result of this news. This is the worst news that WWE could have gotten. I mean, the last time Vince McMahon took a serious hit like this financially, we all know, we've joked about it over the years, many of us, okay? XFL, you go a little bit further than that. WWE stock had took a serious hit when McMahon was involved in the whole steroid scandal. And they had Hulk Hogan come in and testify and all that. WWE stock had took a serious hit back then. So, I mean, if there's anything that history has shown with regards to the WWE and Vince McMahon, there have been those points where they faced great adversity in the stock market, but they've always been able to bounce back on top. And I mean, just understand this, folks. I don't think, like, for those of you that maybe are reading into this so deeply that you're saying to yourselves, is this the end of the WWE? Is WWE going to be going out of business? No, that's definitely not going to happen. It's just such a big, massive freaking phenomenon. It can't be stopped. It won't be stopped. The only way it will be stopped is if basically, I mean, some weird crap would just have to go down to just make it just go out of business. But I don't see that happening. I just think right now, go back to what Vince McMahon and crew, they had said initially when they were first getting ready to launch the WWE Network, and they were talking about how much money they were putting into this. They knew the risks that they were taking early then.
Right.
Now, they probably didn't kind of estimate that it was going to hit them this hard to the point that Vince McMahon would no longer be a billionaire.
Yeah, it was a pretty good wallop for sure.
You know what I'm saying? That's a damn sting.
Yeah.
That is a serious sting.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about the lawsuits that he's been through over the years. This probably, like, is nothing compared to what's going on with what happened this past Friday. Mm-hmm. But honestly, we saw this. We knew this was going to happen. But you know what? Yes, you and me were both like, okay, you know what? This is what's going on with the WWE Network. Okay, they're taking a risk, but you know what? I like the idea. It's good. We were for it. There were so many people that were like, I mean, they were just shitting on it from so many levels. And they were shitting on it because it was like, you know what? No, they aren't going to be successful in that. So it was kind of like, because they felt that WWE wasn't going to be successful in that, they weren't trying to loan them their support, you know.
Right.
But I mean, you got so many fans of wrestling. I mean, I've said this, you've said this many times. And we hear this all the time. Folks that can't appreciate what's going on with today's wrestling, with today's wrestling product. That's even more the reason why you want to go out of your way to support what the WWE is doing with the WWE Network, because it gives you an opportunity to go back and relive years and years of wrestling, some of the best wrestling in the past several decades. And I'm hoping that in time, more libraries will become available. You know, in particular, I would love to see some type of an arrangement made with OVW where, folks, you can see what it was like with John Cena, Dave Bautista, Brock Lesnar. All these guys got their start in OVW. Randy Orton. It'd be nice if we could see the libraries with those guys get featured and other content as well. But, I mean, WWE, I think they're going to be working very diligently to lay out a plan for the next several quarters going into 2015. Right. And they're going to be like, okay, we can get back our capital this way. You know, it reminds me of what's going on out here in the metropolitan area as far as our transit system goes. Every single time you turn around, WMATA, they never have enough money to be able to work on weekend track maintenance, work on the escalators, elevators, track maintenance. And what do? They go, okay, well, let's lay everything out on the table, lay all our cards down. What areas can we maybe boost up the prices? Same thing for WWE. You know, they've been doing this for so many years, but I think people are just like, what? Because of so much money that Vince McMahon lost in like one day.
Right.
But he's gonna get it all back. I think it sucks personally that now, the way things are being projected from what we're hearing, WWE isn't finally gonna break even with the WWE network and be back on a good level playing field, probably not until 2015 at the least. Add on top of that your cable providers that are like, okay, WWE, you want to offer pay-per-views for $10? Okay, well, you know what, we're gonna go holler at another wrestling promotion or boxing event, whatever. You know, there's other fishes on the market, okay? And I mean, it's kind of like, it kind of reminds me of the interview that I had with kayfabe commentary Sean Oliver. He said, you know, you could do whatever as far as trying to lower the price for the cable providers. There's always going to be that argument, well, why should I pay this when I can pay this? So there's nothing that WWE is going to be able to do as far as continuing to have that healthy relationship with the cable providers. And I mean, to have somebody be in a position where you say, hey kid, would you like to pay $50 for a WWE pay-per-view, or would you rather pay $10? You would have to be like, I don't want to say stupid is the wrong word, but you must be pretty damn rich to be able to just throw away $50 when you could just see something for $10, same high quality, you know, all that good stuff for just $10. But I agree with what you said. We're getting to a point right now where cable television, satellite television, it's going to get to that point where it's going to become obsolete. Everything is going to be done by these apps that you're going to be able to download for your Roku, your iPad, whatever. We like Turner Classic Movies. They even started getting on board with that. It's kind of like Netflix now. What's that thing WWE says now? They say the WWE Network. It's like Netflix, but even better. I mean, UFC, they've been playing around with this. Yeah, we're going to get to that point.
Oh, definitely. And some of this is, as we all know, people don't like change, you know, and it takes it a while for that movement to start, you know, and I think, you know, it's still green, it's still wet behind the ears. So it's going to take a little bit for it to really catch on. And I know WWE is going to try to do as much as they can to give you guys the great content, to make the network better, so that you'll want to check it out. The new shows that are coming out, the content as far as the older wrestling matches from ECW and you know, past WrestleManias and all that kind of good stuff.
Let me tell you something, because I know a thing or two about marketing. If I was WWE, I would lay out a plan for the next few quarters going into like summer of 2015, I would lay out a plan where, okay, this quarter, we're going to be releasing this type of content. We're going to release this from our archives. They got so many wrestling libraries that if they do it right and they continue to offer the unique type of programming and original shows that they have on the WWE Network, but in particular, their libraries. There's so many libraries that they have. If they do it right and set it up per quarter, honestly, ultimately, same time next year, I personally would have no problem paying $20 a month for the WWE Network if I knew I was going to be getting every single WCW Nitro, Thunder, pay-per-view. Same thing for ECW, AWA, WCCW. Give me every single library that WWE has bought out, right? I would gladly pay $20 a month for it. And I would challenge anybody out there that would be like, no, that's just too... No. To have that type of content available at the touch of your fingertips for whatever respected device, 24/7, no doubt the network prices are going to go up. Mm-hmm. Now, let's entertain that real quick. How much do you think before this year is out that they're going to go up? Because, I mean, currently, it's what, $10 a month, or you pay $60 up front.
I think what they'll probably... I don't know that they'll raise it right away. But I think that it'll probably go from either 10 to 15 or to 20. I don't think they'll go any higher than 20. For me, but like you said, a great idea as far as releasing from the vaults. You know what? Even an more interesting idea as well. You know what? Every quarter, you have a brand new set of featured matches from their vaults, where you can get as much of watching that as your heart desires. And then the next 3 months, you have another set of, unreleased content, so that it keeps them coming back. Because if you give them all the pie at once and then they're done with it, and then it's like, okay, you know what? I don't really need to be bothered because I can catch Raw on the network, and I can catch the Blue brand on cable. So, what would be the point for me to even bother with it?
Exactly.
Besides the pay-per-views.
Exactly. Now, see, here's the other question. While we're tackling this whole network thing and WWE trying to make a profit, we know that eventually, before this year is out, they're going to jack up the prices. But my question to you is, will they experience a backlash somewhat similar to what was going on with Netflix? Because remember a few years back, Netflix... they tried to do like a 1-2 punch. They said something about basically, long story short, they were trying to increase their prices. And there was like a serious backlash from Netflix subscribers. They didn't like it. And it actually made Netflix say, oh, okay, we won't do that. I do
remember the reports on that.
Right.
I think you'll have some people that will consider that as their own little... no, I'm not going to do that because they're raising the prices. But I think the true wrestling fan who understands the position that, WWE is in will probably, suck up the extra $5.
Is the WWE Network a success?
Yes. For me, I would say yes, because...
Is the WWE Network going to be a success long term?
They're going to have to make sure that their content is on point, and keep their fans coming back. Because if they can't have it on point and keep them coming back, then in the long term, no. For now, it's new, it's fun, it's a great toy. Like we said, the apps and everything is the new future of television. But you still have to keep it fresh. You still have to keep it fun. You still have to keep them coming back.
AT&T U, Comcast, DirecTV. These guys have all backed out on WWE. They're reevaluating their relationship as far as the pay-per-views go. They're going to deal with them on a month-to-month basis. I feel no doubt there's going to be other cable providers that's going to follow in these same footsteps. That is revenue that they were relying on for many, 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 many years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can they get back to a point where they can offer unique, original programming on pay-per-view to cable and satellite providers and still bring in some type of revenue?
That would be honestly up to the cable providers on whether or not that relationship will still stand up to having the WWE pay-per-views come back to cable. I mean, I'm sure that there are still people who, will still throw out that kind of money for a pay-per-view just to watch that kind of a stream. Now, one thing I will say, for the most part, the WWE Network, their stream is pretty good. There are times when it's still in its early stages. It's still in the baby stages where it's still a little glitchy.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're having some type of an event or something like that, and you want to shell out that kind of money, some people will. But,
I'm going to say this and then I want to move on. On top of the WWE Network, if I'm WWE and I'm looking at what's going on with the cable and satellite providers, I'm just going to remove the pay-per-views altogether, except from the ones that are continuing to ride it on out with me. But for the cable providers that have backed away from my product, I'm going to go to them and I'm going to say, look, we might not be able to offer you the pay-per-views anymore since we're offering them at a much lower deal through our network. But what about unique original content specifically for your cable/satellite distribution?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Maybe
what
call
if we
them special events?
Not necessarily special events, but see, when you say special events, I'm thinking the new name that they're giving for their pay-per-views.
Oh.
What I'm proposing is new original programming somewhat similar to what they're doing with the Legends House,
Mm-hmm.
Total Divas.
I see.
Maybe they could bring back new episodes of Legends of Wrestling. You could have new original WWE programming, maybe be part of a... And they tried to do this, but the providers, they weren't trying to entertain the thought. But I think they need to go back to that whole WWE on demand for those respected cable
Mm-hmm.
providers. And as part of that on demand, you get exclusive new original content only available through them if you have that respected provider. I think if they would try to entertain that idea, then revenue would be no problem for them if they're continuing to look for that healthy revenue from the cable and satellite providers.
Yeah. Well, the what's on the table is basically, okay, will the cable and network providers be interested at this point in that? Considering apparently they're saying, okay, you know what? Well, I'm mad with you because you took that away from us, so we don't want to have anything else to do with you.
I don't know.
I mean, truth be told, the network, and cable providers tried it, but it wasn't a finished product yet. And you had people that were buying that as a part of their package, and they weren't updating it at all, barely. And so people just lost interest.
Oh, on the
cable.
Yeah,
when they have it
on
as
demand.
A cable option.
Yeah,
yes.
I remember. Yeah, because as a matter of fact, I remember having WWE on demand. Yeah, I was a little irritated that they weren't refreshing the content. But if they have a renewed focus and passion, if they're really serious about having that healthy relationship going with the satellite cable providers, they're going to work on that new original content. They're going to pump that bad boy out as frequently as they can get. I think they need to do it in a bulk deal. Be like, okay, look, this is just hypothetically speaking, folks, but just be like, okay, Comcast, all right, this is what I'm going to offer you. I'm going to offer you 52 weeks of original programming that will be updated weekly. And then once that 52-week cycle is over, then we can sit down and we can reevaluate our relationship. and see if it's a success, if we can continue on, get an extension. Basically do it like that. But do it in a bulk. Hey, we're going to offer you this, you know. To be continued though, but I could talk about this all night, but you know, because I think we have like a lot of ideas that like really, you know, it doesn't take 12 freaking guys in suits. You know, you just gotta really just make it be simple and just really get to the heart of the matter. But I think WWE is gonna be okay in the long haul. Vince McMahon,
oh yeah,
he'll be okay. He'll be okay.
This is what he does. This is what he knows. This is what he loves.
Yeah.
I mean, him and his panel of board of directors or whatever will figure this out. And you know, it's a stinger, but it's, you know, like Lee said, it's not, oh my God, WWE's, you know, going away.